Welcome to my June wrap up, the video where I show you all the books that I've hauled in the month of June, that I've read and finished during the month, and that I will be unhauling now after the month. So stay tuned. We will start with the books that I hauled. And I put up a huge unboxing vlog in this month. So I hauled a lot of books. I won't talk about them in detail here because I already did that in the unboxing video, but I will show them to you. So let's start with that. We have Half City by Kate Golden, The Raven Scholar by Anthony Hodgson, Yesteryear by Carol Claire Burke, which I will start now in July. Game Changer by Rachel Reed. The Long Game by Rachel Reed, which is the second book of the series in German, the sixth book in the original order. And as it is a review copy, I can't wait to read it in the original order. So I already started reading The Long Game now and will read Game Changer after that. The Same Backward as Forward by Jennifer Lynn Barnes, a book that I've already started reading and that I almost finished by now. So you will see it again in my next wrap up. Forgotten Woman, The Leaders by Xing Qiang, The Scientists, and The Artists, which completes the series for me. I already have the writers on my TBR and am already reading it. Dungeon Crawler Carl, the graphic novel Volume 1, a book that arrived here and that I immediately read, so I can put it on this side. The Iliad by Homer, translated by Emily Wilson. Yes, this is important because I wanted to read this specific translations because other translators, especially male translators, included a lot of misogyny in their translations. So this is something new and I want to read this more true to the original version. The same for The Odyssey by Homer. Then we have The Shadow of What Was Lost by James Islington, a book that I've already started reading. It is the first book of the Lycanius trilogy. The Story Collector by Evie Woods. The Mysterious Bakery on Rue de Paris by Evie Woods. And The Violence Maker's Secret by Evie Woods. Nocticadia by Carrie Lake. Anathema by Carrie Lake, the first book of a duology. And the last books from the big unboxing, the whole Chestnut Springs series by Elsie Silver. But I won't put them on this side because they are already on my TBR since 2024. Because I already got the ebooks. The prints are here to prioritize reading them. So I will put them behind me. And this was everything now from the unboxing, but we are not at the end of the haul part of this video because after that I hauled two more books, one ebook, and I was really surprised by that. It was on NetGalley and I asked for it, but I never ever expected my request to be accepted. But here we are. I got a digital ARC copy of Taipei Story by R.F. Kuang. I can't believe that. It makes me so happy that I can read the book now. So I will see if I can fit it in July. If not, I will definitely read it in August. And the last book that arrived here was again a physical one. It is the print edition of Daggermouth by H.M. Wolf. I really, really needed that. I already read the book as an ebook in my dystopian vlog, but I loved it so much that I wanted it on my shelves and I can't wait to read the sequel next year. So, this is it. And again, I won't put it on this side because I already read it, but not in this month like Dungeon Crawler Call, but before. So I will put it behind me again. And that was now every single book that I hauled in June. I already told you in my last wrap up that there will be a huge haul. And yes, we had a huge haul. But now let's see what books I've read and how many books I've read. Can we get at least close to having the stack the same height as the haul pile? We will see now. And the first book that I have here makes me happy and sad at the same time that I've read it now. Happy that I've reached the point of my journey here that I could read the new release right after it was published, but also sad because I need to wait now to continue the Dungeon Crawler Car series by Matt Dinneman. This is book 8, A Parade of Horribles, and I really, really like this book. It could be my second favorite of the whole series, or third favorite after book 1 and 2. Book 2 is still my favorite, but I really, really like this book. I think the concept of this floor was better to understand, but it got very, very crazy in the end. As always, we had a lot of twists and turns that I didn't see coming. It was super entertaining, and my buddy read girls and I have a lot of questions now. Hopefully, they will all be answered in book 9 and 10. But as I said, we need to wait for them. Matt Dinneman just started writing book 9, so it will take a while. Fingers crossed we will get book 9 next year around the same time, so in summer. But we'll see. I rather wait longer for it and have then a great book to read than the author being forced to rush it. The next book that I've read wasn't the last part of the series, but I'm getting closer to it. It is book 3 of the An Amber in the Ashes series. This is A Reaper at the Gates by Saba Tahir, and I think the books are getting better and better. Book 1 was okay to good. I really liked book 2. I liked book 3 more, and I can't wait to read book 4, the final book of the An Amber in the Ashes series. It is a super, super heavy fantasy read because it is all about war, about betrayal, about losing loved ones, about forcing to make decisions and you don't have good options. Everything is bad and it is super, super devastating. But I love every single second of it because it is really, really well written. And Sabah Tahir is the queen of writing villain characters or even morally gray characters, which is not that easy. So I will definitely continue the series in July, but we will get to that later, not in this vlog. Next, we have two books from the same universe. It is the Inheritance Games universe by Jennifer Lynn Barnes. And I finished The Grandest Game, the first book of the Grandest Game trilogy, at the start of June. I already started it in May but couldn't finish. And it is a spin off of the Inheritance Games trilogy. I really, really recommend reading the books in order. So please read at least The Brothers Hawthorne before you read The Grandest Game. And before you read The Brothers Hawthorne, you should read the Inheritance Games trilogy. So, yes, stay in order. It is better to get the full context because you already meet some of the characters from the Grandest Game in The Brothers Hawthorne, and they have an important role there. So, it is better to know this backstory before you start the Grandest Game. And I think for me personally, even if it was a bit tricky that I had a big break between the Brothers Hawthorne and the Grandest Game now, it was on the other side a good decision to make a break so I could enjoy this way more. It is a very similar concept to the Inheritance Games trilogy. So I could have been a bit annoyed by that when I would have read everything in one go, but so I just enjoy this series and can't wait to continue it. But before I do that with Glorious Rivals, I read Games Untold by Jennifer Lynn Barnes. This is an anthology set around the original Inheritance Games trilogy. So we have two novellas in here, one set after the Inheritance Games, one set before, which tells the story of Hannah and Toby. And then we have a few short stories here. I've read everything in the book except the 200-page novella of Hannah's and Toby's stories, not because I don't want to read it, but because I have an extra book for that. It is called The Same Backward as Forward, and I showed you that earlier in the video because it is on my haul pile here. The separate book not only has Hannah's POV that we have also here, but it is also adding Toby's POV. So I want to have the full experience on the novella and bought the separate book. This book was part of my last suspense vlog, so suspense mixed with other genres. This one is mixed with new adult romance, and it was super promising in the beginning of the book. I felt the rage when nobody took our main character serious, when she got stalked, not even the police, which is realistic, as sad as it is. But there was also so much wrong, especially at the end of the book. I was super annoyed by that because it destroyed my reading experience of the story. But I can appreciate the good aspects. And if you want to know more about it, watch the Suspense Mix vlog. Here we have the reason for 3 books on my haul pile. It is The Lost Bookshop by Evie Woods. I finished the book now in June and I loved it. I love the writing of Evie Woods. I love the magical realism here. I loved the characters. I loved the humor. I loved especially the serious parts of the book and couldn't wait to read more of Evie Wood, which is why I bought all her other books and probably will read them soon. You can probably tell from which series this book is based on how thick it is. It is the third book in the Stormlight Archive series by Brandon Sanderson, Oathbringer, and I finally finished it in June after 14 weeks of reading, 100 pages per week, so 1,400 pages. And I was a bit relieved that after that I just had a short novella called Dawn Chart. So it only took me a few hours to read this one, and it was interesting to also explore this side now here with different characters that we know from the original series. But now in July, I'm going back to the Stormlight Archive series, book 4 then, Rhythm of War, and we'll start that. Not finished because it also has 1,400 pages. But I will start now and really want to see how the story continues. People Pleaser was also part of the suspense vlog. It is written by Catriona Stewart, and this was a book that I almost DNF'd. I think 140 pages in or so. So almost halfway through it. It was a bit boring to me. I wasn't really invested, and I was ready to DNF the book until I looked up the ending and learned who did it. That was a reason for me to continue the story, which was not why I looked it up. I just wanted to know so I could put it aside in my brain. But that was not the case. I wanted to know why. And surprisingly, this was the book I liked the most in my suspense vlog. So I don't know what this tells you about me and my reading experiences here, but here we go. And let's go to the next book, which is an ebook. Before I forget them, I always have little papers on my desk here with the names. The first one was also part of the suspense vlog. It is The Spotlight by Nicola Martin. I also had some problems with it, even if I enjoyed especially the first half of the story. My problems were more to the end of it because personally I have really big problems when a suspect gets away with everything. I don't say that this is the case here, but it definitely played a role in everything. But I'm still glad that I've read it. And the second ebook that we have here is Love Song by Al Kennedy. It is a standalone in the off campus universe, but I recommend reading at least the Charlie Method before the third book of the Campus Diary series, because our female main character Blake already has a big side role in the Charlie Method. And getting back to Love Song now, there were a lot of elements in it that annoyed me. We also had lots of moments that I truly enjoyed, but all in all, I was disappointed by it. It didn't fulfill my expectations, and I think it is personal taste, but I didn't like some of the tropes we had in here. But I will still continue with the off campus universe when Bad Idea will be published in November. But for now, I am caught up with the universe and can continue reading other series. One of them is this one. We are ending with a grand finale here. I've not only read book 4 of the Young Sherlock Holmes series, book 5, book 6, book 7, but also the final book, book 8, in June. I've started book 4 already in May, but I finished all of them now. 5 books in total, and also finishing the Young Sherlock Holmes series. It is written by Andrew Lane, and it tells the story of young Sherlock Holmes, obviously. So his teenage years, how he develops everything he knows in the original books. So the whole detection mode. He learns how to fight, he learns how to play violin, He learns how to investigate in crimes, and I loved the series. I had a really, really great time with it, and honestly, can't really tell you why book 1 to 3 of the series were on my TBR and never touched since 2015. So 11 years. That was definitely a mistake, or wasn't it? Because I enjoyed them right now. So maybe it was perfect timing. We don't know. But I'm glad that I've read the series now. And that concludes all the books that I've read. So that's it here. You can see the haul pile is a bit taller than my red pile, but I can live with that. Honestly, I expected it to be worse, but I almost caught up with my hauls. I think there is a 2 book difference here, and I can really live with that. I think this reading month was a great success, but there were also some books on this side that don't need to stay on my shelves. So let's pick them out and let's see what I want to unhaul now after the month. And here we go. These are the 2 candidates that will leave my apartment. Probably not a surprise by now after everything I've told you about the books. So I am glad that I've read them now. I didn't like that one. I was okay with this one. But in the end, they don't need to stay. I will definitely not reread these books, and they can find a better home. So that means this is it for today. Huge haul, huge red pile, and a bit of unhaul to do. We will see if I can do better next month. Please tell me in the comments what you have read in June. What was your highlight? Like this video if you wanna follow my channel, and I will see you next time. Bye!